Hey everybody. I'd always thought how interesting it would be to make a documentary about the goth scene around the world, so maybe we could get an idea of what it really looks like, how it differs from place to place, and which core things remain the same. Early last year, I decided to launch that idea into action and actually do it. I put the sudden ability to actually do a big project down to getting my ADHD diagnosis and getting treatment for that. I actually do things now. I am a really motivated person who has so many ideas that never see the light of day. This is actually going to see the light of day. It's been a while since starting the whole thing and I haven't really talked about it much on here. Some people have asked like where is it at, what's going on with it, and of course a couple have gone, I knew you would never do it. The awesome people who supported it have seen progress. No one else has, so I'm here to tell you all what's happened so far and what's yet to come. Let me preface by saying it is very fucking hard making a feature film by yourself, especially when you have two toddlers in your care. I got started immediately after the Indiegogo campaign finished, after brain melting levels of research into the best choices of equipment and how to use it. I got a cinema camera, a lens, mics, cards, drive, rigging, and so forth. Basic run and gun setup suitable for cinematic style documentary making that I could operate entirely on my own, because I wanted to get this thing started and I did not have the budget for a crew. Yes, you know the phrase, if you want something done, you have to do it yourself. For the assholes who think I just wanted a free trip overseas to party and drink, which by the way, if you think that, go fuck yourself, probably had 10% fun. Mostly very stressful, very busy, very challenging. Found myself just wanting it to be done so that I could sit down for a bit. I took no breaks, I did not rest. The second the campaign ended till Halloween, when I came back to New Zealand, I spent literally every moment working or looking after my 1-year-old son, who did the entire journey with me. I went to cool events, but I was not at the event, if that makes sense. I was concentrating on my task and observing the people who were at the event. I have never driven so much in my life, and that is saying something. I based myself in my wee flat near Glasgow in Scotland. I bought a car for £600, is extremely cheap there, and buzzed off for weeks at a time, contacting people for interviews, asking permissions, writing up contracts, booking everything, which for someone as profoundly disorganized as me is actually a pretty big feat. I drove from Glasgow to Leicester to Worcester, up to Leeds, back to Worcester, down to London for a bit, down to Eastbourne and Brighton, back north via the Cotswolds. Was going to Nottingham, but that's when I broke my foot, so back to Scotland. As I went, I tried to vlog here and there, which is what I've been gradually editing and uploading since. Currently in New Zealand, by the way, all my latest uploads are obviously a bit behind. I won't spoil all the details before you see the film, but I've got a lot done in England. I interviewed a prolific and respected author on the subject of goth, who did the best interview ever. I visited 2 major internationally beloved gothic fashion and jewellery brands at their headquarters and filmed with the staff there, a recognisable goth model and icon, a couple of well-known and important musicians, the world's longest running goth and post-punk journalists, and more, as well as people running stalls on gothic market days and just random goths in the wild. One of the scariest days was when I approached members of the public to ask them what they knew about goths. Like the introvert's worst nightmare. I went to 3 different sorts of events, a beautiful ball, a nightclub, and a market day. So we already have some amazing people in the film who gave such a valuable contribution. I've already learned a lot myself from all the people I spoke to. It's been a fascinating journey and there's still a long way to go. If I'm learning lots, I think there's definitely plenty for everybody to learn, so it should be pretty interesting. So yeah, my journey in Britain got cut short after breaking my foot. First bone I've broken in my life. Good timing. But there wasn't time to let it heal properly as I still had work to do and a chonky toddler to carry around with me. So a few days after that, I was back in the car with the wee man. Fortunately, it was my left foot that I broke so I could still drive. We drove all the way to Folkestone, slept for 2 hours, then got the Dover to Calais ferry first thing in the morning. I had never driven on the right hand side before, so I was pretty nervous about that, but it was actually fine. And one day we drove all the way from Calais, France to Hildesheim, Germany via Belgium and the Netherlands. You would think that driving through 5 countries would be really interesting, but it was one of the dullest drives I've ever done. In Germany first we went to the Mariluna Festival. My foot's still very broken. That's me on the stage the night before it started, where I was one of the only people granted film permission. Felt very special and privileged. I pretty much filmed non-stop. I barely stopped to eat or pee. I wanted to make the most of being there. I think I got 15 hours of footage. Not long after that, we were at another smaller festival where it was very, very hot. I had permission to film bands from the side of the stage and the pit. We met so many musical artists and interesting people. It was really special. We filmed in a couple of goth shops in Germany. The only thing I didn't get a chance to shoot there was the German club scene, which I actually think is more important than the festivals. I was very kindly invited to Prague for a big event there. Really wanted to go as I want Eastern Europe to be its own segment. The funds were getting alarmingly low, so that had to take a rain check. I interviewed who I consider a journalistic goth power couple in Germany, who were amazing and very knowledgeable, also gave a great interview. We drove back to Scotland en route visiting Kent, and later we were lucky enough to get to York for a very special sold-out event. By the time the wee man and I got back to the flat, that most excellent car had been driven to death and failed its MOT spectacularly. I had wanted to see a bit of Scotland and visit some friends while I was there, but that was not going to be possible. So there are things in Europe and the UK that I want to get back for briefly, people I still need to interview for whom the timing wasn't quite right for them or whatever, but the main thing now is to visit the rest of the primary locations. I'm hoping, praying to get to the USA for April. That would be sick, that would be perfect. Pray to all the gods you can think of for adequate funding by then. There's a lot I want to film in the USA, people I want to interview there. It'll be really valuable. I also want to get to Mexico because there is a large, fascinating scene there. That's an important stop. Also Japan to see their version. I've been there since I was 14 years old, oh my god. And finally to Kenya. By a massive coincidence, I met a contact for the goth scene in Nairobi. It felt like divine intervention, like it was meant to be. There are places that I would love to go to, or places that I've been told I have to go to. You know, one must be realistic, see what's doable, but there are things that really do need to be prioritized. I got a shitload done for the small budget I had. I suppose I should be proud of my efforts so far. It was very hard. It has been a massive learning experience too, especially with technology. For example, I struggled big time with audio equipment, so I could really have done with a sound recordist. Obviously, there were a lot of limitations on places I could go because I had the wee man with me, and of course his safety and well-being comes first. He had a great time. He went on this big adventure. He met all these rock stars. It's just a pity he won't remember any of it. A lot of people have asked me about editing it because it seems like such a gargantuan task. I do mean to edit it myself. Editing is actually really more my forte. I'm not worried about it at all or intimidated by it, and my initial intention was just to direct and edit the film, having a couple of crew to do sound, camera and a production assistant, but so far I've just done everything. Post-production takes a long time. Editing I expect will take several solid weeks of not doing anything else, plus color grading and audio editing. There's more than just editing, there's making an EPK, distribution, subtitling, exporting in different formats. It's kind of a lot. I have a couple of excellent people on board for music and graphics. I'm really stoked about that. But how long is it going to take? When is it going to be finished? I really can't say at this stage. It really depends on funding because there is not a lot I can do without that. Films are expensive, but I think I'm good at making a little go a long way. So that's what I'm focusing on at the moment. There aren't a lot of film or arts grants available in New Zealand, but I guess I will squeaky wheel at them. I'm looking at New Zealand Film Commission until they give succor to this spooky brainchild. So much effort and support from so many people has already gone into this. There's absolutely no way I'm ever giving up on this. I will keep hammering away until the job is done. There's a private Discord for supporters, so if you want to keep up with everything and support the film, help it get made, I've put a wee link below. Just make sure you include your email with your name so I can send you an invite link for the Discord. There are also still limited edition t-shirts available in my wee shop. I'll link that below too. They're actually very nice. So yeah, that is where things are at the moment. A lot has been filmed and there is a lot yet to be filmed. I don't know how long it will take to reach completion. That depends on funding, but it will definitely reach completion as soon as it possibly can. This means a lot to me. My magnum opus or whatever. A lot of people are eagerly awaiting it, so it will come and I will try not to break any more bones on the way. Please, if you've got any more questions, just ask them in the comments and I will answer them for you. Thank you again to everybody who supported the Indiegogo campaign. Thank you. You're amazing. More updates eventually. I'll keep trucking along and uploading my usual YouTube videos as much as I can in addition to doing this. Thank you for watching. Take care of yourself. Be nice to each other. And I will see you next time. Bye.